you for making some time for me today. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, first let me say, so I've interviewed 600 people. I've, met tons of actors at Comic Cons. I am about as blown away by your performance through 2 episodes as if I've been by anything ever. Like, this is amazing what you're doing on screen right now.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That means so much.
Yeah, it's where does that come from, Clara? Is it you were born with that? Is that acting class? What is that? Because I feel like at your age to have this type of ability is insane. Like, it's out of this world.
Thank you so much. I mean, I started off doing theater, community theater, when I was really little, and that kind of transitioned into TV and film. Um, my mom grew up doing theater, so that definitely had an influence on me. And, she grew up doing acting, so she kind of brought me into the industry a little bit. But honestly, I think for this show, I think it was such a collaborative effort. And I think, having people like Andy and Barbara on set and, Ben Perkins, our acting coach for the show, really made all the difference because they made an environment for us where we felt so comfortable and safe to like explore the scenes and experiment with them. So I honestly think, and also working with the other cast, I think all of us together really created something special.
Yeah, that's a great answer. So I've just finished the second episode. I want to ask you about that towards the end of the interview. Whew, I thought you went through a lot the first episode. Well, oh my God, Clara. So let me ask you this. So the pilot is amazing. Everyone's talking about that beginning, that intro. That's unbelievable, and it is. It's out of this world. But for me, it was the ending that got me. I was like, oh my goodness, Clara. So when I watch a show like that, like this, it's one of my favorite shows on TV right now. I get a lot of anxiety. Right? It's an anxiety show. Right? That's the nature of the beast. When you're filming it, when you're acting through it, do you feel maybe it's a different type of anxiety, but do you feel that anxiety when you're filming it?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it comes across more intense in the final product in the series than it was during filming.
Right.
Um, I mean, definitely, yeah, there were definitely times where it was a lot of work and really intense scenes where we really had to get to dark, vulnerable places. So yeah, there were definitely times where it was scary, but I also think, kind of like I mentioned before, the environment on set was so welcoming and heartwarming at times, and we would be laughing and joking around in between takes. So yeah, I definitely think it comes across more intense um, and throughout the actual series. But that's also with editing and music and lighting and everything. So I think that contributes to it too.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely hear that. So, at the end of that episode, we see Lily, Ted, Phil, we see all these people at the end of the episode. And, I thought to myself, Claire, I'm like, this is going to be like Stranger Things. We're going to see a group of friends that fight through it together, and we might lose one along the way, but you know what? They're going to stick together. Clara, boy, was I wrong. I can't get over that episode. Like, I was not ready to have half of them go. I couldn't believe it. I think I had to pick my job 20 minutes after that, like, episode ended. What did you think of that episode, Claire? And did you think a lot of people were not fooled because, like you said, the Andy and they made it clear what this was going to be? I mean, I only knew that afterwards, but good Lord, Clara, I was not. I thought this was going to be Stranger Things or like Stand By Me. These friends are going to battle it through, and my heart broke. Clara? Anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, definitely. I felt the same way. I mean, when I first read the script, I was shocked. I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? This is an insane ending for especially only the first episode. But it made me so excited to film. That ending movie theater scene is honestly one of my favorite scenes that I got to film throughout the whole series. I love horror sequences like that. I love action-packed things. So, getting to scream and be drenched in blood and do all that was really fun. But yeah, there was kind of this like ongoing hope throughout the series that we would fool people and that this episode was kind of set up to have these kids be our kind of main cast that we're following throughout the series. So we did want it to be a shock to people. So seeing that everyone was super shocked and terrified by it, it was just cool to see everyone's reactions and to know that we achieved what we had hoped.
Yeah, and that's the part. That's a great answer. And you watch everything that happens to these kids. Like, did you watch the three It's prior to filming this?
Yeah, I did. I actually watched it chapter 1 when I was maybe like 9 years old.
Wow.
So yeah, it was definitely terrified me, but I loved it. But yeah, referencing the it chapter 1 and chapter 2 movies was a big thing throughout this series to kind of, get a tone of the environment and just the It universe and kind of like understand the mysteries surrounding Derry.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, Claire, it's like the kids are the heroes in this story, right? Going to the movies, and we see the kids are the ones that defeat Pennywise. but they're also the victims. And sometimes that's hard to watch, Clara. Like I feel so bad for like it was just so tough to see, Clara. I know, like, I don't want to beat this to death, but goodness gracious, that's the secret sauce a bit to this show, is that no one is safe.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I think that's one of the scariest things about Pennywise, is that it turns your insecurities and your fears against you. So, yeah, really no one is safe because we all have doubts and fears and worries. So the fact that it can come after you at any time is really horrifying to think about.
Are you familiar, Clara, with the term shine in the Stephen King universe?
Yeah, I am. I've been seeing a lot of people say that my character has the shine. That's kind of why she survived the first episode. But it's really cool to see everyone's, theories about it, and see everybody like talking about that.
So I promise I'm not trying to get you to bite on a spoiler or anything. I promise that's not what I'm trying to do. But I will say, for those listening or watching, that when it comes to shine, John Coffey has it. Danny Torrance had it. Carrie White from Carrie had it. In my opinion, and you don't have to answer this because I don't want to put you in a bad position, Lily 1,000,000,000% has it. She has all the boxes are checked. She's been a victim of a lot. She's unfairly persecuted. Checked. She's got it all. But again, you don't have to say anything, or you could say something, whatever you wanted to say, Clara.
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to say much because I don't want to spoil anything.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it's definitely been really cool to see everyone's theories on it. I've loved like reading about it and seeing what people have to say. But yeah, I guess you guys will just have to wait and see, and stay tuned.
I have to say, Clara, though, like, just watching what your character's been through over 2 episodes, I don't think I've seen a character in a fictional show go through this much ever. Like, I mean, so like in the 60s, like, mental health wasn't a priority for anybody. But this poor girl, like, my heart, like, outside of the horror stuff, my heart breaks for this kid. Like, she is like, never mind the entity that's after her. Then the people in real life are after her. Like, she can't get away from anything. How do you see Lily, Clara, and how do you see what I just said as far as her never getting away from being tormented?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with what you just said. I think she's been through so much. I mean, with the loss of her dad, her mom isn't super engaged within her life. She deals with stuff at school, being bullied. She's struggling with her relationship with Marge, who was priorly her, her best friend, and she doesn't feel like she fits in. And now all these things with these it encounters, and 3 of her friends literally getting murdered right in front of her, and her being the only one, I mean, making it out alive of that movie theater. I think she's been through so much. And also one of the things that, to think about is how much guilt she carries because of all of these things. I think she kind of perceives a lot of these things to be her fault, with her dad, and the kids dying, and Maddie going missing. So I think that's a big thing that she struggles with throughout the series, is the guilt that she carries with her every day. And yeah, I think she's definitely been forced to kind of grow up faster, and kind of lose that sense of innocence a lot faster than other kids would in the 60s.
That's an awesome answer. And Claire, can you imagine in 2025 if somebody like your age, or I'm guessing she's like 14-ish, 15-ish in the show, had lost her father, and the nickname they give this person is Looney? I mean, I can't get over it. Like, I just want to reach to the TV and give this girl a hug. I feel so bad for her. Like, I just hope, and I know this is not the show for redemption. I just hope, I don't know. I don't know what else to say, but I'm so frustrated when I see this poor girl. She never has a moment of peace, ever.
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, I think the stigma around mental health was really just negative during the 60s. And I think that's also a big thing, is Lily spending her summer in Juniper Hill. I think that definitely also contributed to kind of her growing up fast, and adulthood and maturity being kind of forced onto her, because instead of talking through her grief and kind of dealing with it in a healthy way, she was just exposed to an environment that was not appropriate or safe for what she was going through. And so, yeah, I definitely think that contributes a lot to her character. And I think that's kind of why going back to Juniper Hill is one of her biggest fears throughout the series.
Yeah. That's and you know what? She's going through all of this, Clara, and she still cares about Maddie. Like, I mean, like, are you kidding me? Like, this is one of the greatest kids ever. Like, no matter, she's a very selfless person, and I'm kind of cheering for her. But again, this is probably the wrong show to be cheering for somebody, because everybody's on the table. So I just want you to know that, and you've brought her to life in such a magical way. Like, it's so much fun to watch. At your age, it's insane what you're bringing to the screen, Clara. I cannot get over it.
Thank you so much. That means a lot.
Yeah, so I want to talk about what your character's been through, right? So she's got Susie's arm at the end of episode 1. She's covered in blood. She's getting bullied and harassed. Maddie's finger in the drain. she endures so much. I just saw episode 2. We're gonna get to that in a little bit, but I mean, there's the pickles, the dad's in the pickle jar. Like, what one do you think was the toughest for you? Not the toughest for you to film, but most. What was the most? Is there a difficult? Is that the right word, or was there one that was more impactful or more heart wrenching to film than the rest as far as those scenes? Because I feel like you're behind a lot of these difficult scenes that we're seeing through the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, in episode 1, I think Maddie's finger coming up through the drain. I think that's hard for Lily because
Yeah.
it kind of signifies her guilt with Maddie, going missing. And I think throughout all of this, despite everything she's been through, she's still a very selfless person, and she cares so much about her friends. And so I think the fact that she's still holding on to that guilt regarding Maddie going missing, I think that really shows in that scene. But I also think one of the hardest scenes was, in episode 2 with her dad in the pickles.
Oh,
Because, yeah, I mean, that's such a heart-wrenching scene. I feel like because, again, it reflects on the guilt and the grief that she's going through and that she has to carry with her every day. And that was before she even started encountering, it manifestations. And I think while the scene itself, when it's going on, is super horrific and intense, I also think it's really sad to think about the aftermath and her having to go back to Juniper Hill after that, because I think one of Lily's biggest fears is being called crazy and people thinking that she is Loony Lily. So the fact that she goes through this awful thing where she sees her dad, like that, and him just coming and attacking her, and then everyone surrounding her in the grocery store calling her crazy, and she has to go back to Juniper Hill in that awful place where it was just really unnerving for her. I think it's really sad to think about.
Clara, that's a great answer again. But I have to say, like, the fact that this entity, it's a very tough, difficult entity physically, like it's very powerful, but mentally, it's almost cruel. Like they couldn't have manifested in like just a ghost form. They got to go inside a pickle jar and be really hurtful and go after something she's very sensitive to, like her dad. Like, yeah. I feel like it's a very cruel, mean, like I don't know, mean. It's maybe the most mean-spirited entity in like any horror I think I've ever seen. It's just, it knows how to be the worst of the worst of the worst. Do you get that impression as well?
I definitely do. I think, kind of like I mentioned before, that's one of the scariest things about it, is that it transforms into things that are specific to you.
Right.
It's not just this one monster. It's a whole entity that can totally transform at any time and really just pick apart your insecurities and what you fear most and what you feel guilty or upset about most, which I think is, I mean, obviously very it's very clear in this series that, it comes for all these kids in different ways and in different forms, and it kind of reflects on what they fear the most. So yeah, I think it's very cruel. Like you said, I think it's really sad to think about because it's tearing apart these kids in ways that you wouldn't even imagine.
Yeah. What can you say about a non-spoiler, just a journey? What does Lily's journey look like the rest of the way? You don't have to give spoilers. I mean, like, is it troublesome? Does she go through a lot? Does she endure a lot? Just a blanket statement. I don't want you to give out spoilers, or I don't want to get you in trouble or anything like that. But how would you describe the rest of her journey throughout the rest of the season?
Yeah, I definitely think that she still goes through so much throughout this series. It doesn't get any easier for her. But I really admire her character arc. I think she starts off the series very kind of shy and quiet and scared. And while she still is those things and is still goes through fear throughout the series, I think she kind of develops into someone really brave, and she learns how to be a group leader and to face her fears, which I think is really special to see. And I think that she definitely develops as a character throughout the series. And I think, while she is still going through so much, I think it does get a little easier because she has her friends by her side and she finds her people, and they're going through all of this together, which I think is really important. But yeah, I definitely think she, develops as a character. I think she learns to be really brave, and I think she becomes really determined, because I also think that's rooted kind of in her selflessness and her longing to fight for her friends and the care that she has for her friends. I think that kind of roots her determination to keep going and fight and figure out what it is, and kind of just, find all these answers and keep going.
Yeah, let me show you something really quick on the screen. I wanted to show this. Why is your face the one in the balloon straight? Why is it your face that's there? Like, is that a subliminal message? Like, what am I supposed to take out of that? Like, I read into things so much, it's ridiculous. But I hope that's just general marketing. And again, you can't tell me, but whatever you wanted to say about that. By the way, it's a really cool promotional photo. So Anything you wanted to say about that? It's up to you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, I won't spoil anything, but honestly, just seeing that kind of cover art for the first time was so crazy to think about. I actually, there's a billboard in Times Square of it that I saw with Matilda, who plays Marge, because we live near each other. So we went to go see it together, and I'd seen photos of it online, and I was like, wow, that's so awesome. That's insane. But seeing it in person for the first time was so insane. I mean, it was just this massive billboard, and my face was on it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. So it was definitely like a full circle moment, and it was so cool to see.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I have some Reddit questions for you, and then a little thoughts on season 2. And I thank you for this. Thank you so much for this. So I told Reddit I was interviewing you, and they sent me some questions. Somebody said your potential as a scream queen is through the roof. I don't know that I would call you a scream queen because I think you're much deeper than that. But it's a super compliment in the horror genre.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people saying that, and it's honestly such an honor. I mean, yeah, Lily definitely screams a lot through the series, but yeah, it's so cool to see people saying that.
So this one is kind of more of a comment, but I thought it was really cool and really a compliment to you. Someone say they were part of the crew of the Derry of filming this. They said that your scream is so loud and gut wrenching they had to leave the stage because it triggered a fight or flight in them. I mean, it adds to your believability as an actor. Like I think it's phenomenal that. I mean, I don't know where this scream comes from, Clara. Whatever you wanted to say, is that something you develop? Is it whatever you wanted to share on that?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was kind of intimidated going into the scenes where I had to scream like that because I didn't really practice beforehand. I kind of just they called action. I kind of just went for it and let whatever come out came out. But honestly, like I mentioned before, I think having such a safe, comfortable environment on set where I felt willing to just let go and experiment and try new things really made all the difference, and it definitely made me feel comfortable to kind of just let go and scream.
Yeah, and you sure do. Let me ask you this: because you are a kid, how do you handle the blood, the gore, the prosthetics? Or is that just kind of like again? I know it's a safe set, but is it ever like, oh, this is kind of gross? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm someone who loves that type of stuff.
Yeah,
So getting to film scenes where I was like drenched in blood and everything, that was honestly super fun for me. I love like action-packed scenes and horror sequences. But there were definitely times where I was like, whoa, this is kind of gross. I mean, specifically in the pickle scene, I've never liked pickles. I don't think I ever will after this.
me
But
neither,
yeah,
Clara.
yeah, getting to be sitting in pickles for hours on end. That was definitely a little gross at times, but obviously also such a fun scene to film.
Clara, random thought. Like people who put pickles on pizza are scarier than the whole show of it combined. Like I just think it's the weirdest thing to put on a pizza. Pickles. I think
I've never
people.
heard of pickles and pizza.
Yeah,
Oh my
and
god.
pineapple's gross too. But anyways, I don't want to take you too far off. So I have, and please correct me if I'm mispronouncing his name. The actor who plays Teddy, is it Michael? Is that how you say his name?
Mikal.
McCall. Okay, so I have McCall coming on as well next week. I have Miles coming on later on this week.
Mhm.
Did you develop a friendship off screen with a lot of the kids that we see in the show?
Yeah, I mean, we all developed a super tight knit kind of group, I think. One of the first things that we all did as a group was a screening of the first It movie when we all met, kind of just for
Oh,
a bonding
nice.
experience. So yeah, that was really fun, and I think, yeah, I mean, we definitely all developed really great friendships on and off set. I think when you're filming something this intense and this horrific at times, going through it together really bonded us, and I think, yeah, I've honestly made so many incredible friendships and met so many amazing people throughout filming this. So yeah, we were all definitely really close, and it was so much fun to film all these scenes with them.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have to say though, I finally when I finished episode 2, I wrote down a couple more notes. I have to say, the Juniper Hill, the look on Lily's face on your face when she finds out she's going back, that is hard. I'm telling you, watching what happens to Lily is more heartbreaking for me than any of the blood and guts and gore. Because I have 2 kids, I have a daughter. Like I'm like if Lily was my child, my heart would be heart like it would be like I don't know what I would be beside myself. I mean, she's going. I said, okay, she went through a lot the first episode. Then I finished the second episode. I'm like, it doesn't get better, and it's just like I don't know what
Yeah.
is it about Juniper Hill. Is it just that '60s? It's got to be an awful place to be. Even when she's getting out of the car, like the guards just look creepy with those smiles. Like, ugh.
Yeah, I think Lily has so much kind of trauma built up from spending her summer in Juniper Hill, and I think that really contributes to so much of her character and how she is as a character. I think spending your time in a place like that, kind of like I mentioned, where mental health wasn't really talked about, and how they kind of resorted to these just barbaric like things and treatments rather than talking things out and actually healthily going through things. I think it was awful, and like you kind of mentioned, yeah, mental health in the 1960s was not um, really talked about or discussed as much as it is now, or as much of it should as much as it should have been. So I think that definitely contributes to how she is as a character and how she goes through her trauma. And I think, yeah, like you said, the environment's honestly just really scary, and the guards, and like you just mentioned, yeah, I think that's kind of why it is one of her biggest fears. And I think definitely when she finds out that she has to go back, it's just really unnerving and heartbreaking for her.
Yeah, and you play that so well. The kids go through so much in the show, and then we look at the adults are kind of awful in this show. There's like a handful of like really good people, but they're awful. Like even the fight they have in the episode 2, where there's a fight, nobody wants to break it up. The adults are like, it's just kids being kids. Like, what? No, it's not. Like, it's just that watching the adults not be the maybe they're part they're maybe they're encompassed by the entity. I don't know, but that's another frustrating part. What Pennywise and the entity is doing is one thing, but what the adults are doing is also kind of frightening and awful and horrific.
Yeah, totally. And I think that really affects Lily too, because I think one of the things that Lily really craves is validation, especially from adults, because she's heard so many adults and kids at school calling her crazy. So I think she really just longs for a figure in her life that she can confide in and tell the truth to, and she'll be listened to and heard and understand it and not called crazy when she tells the truth. But I think she acknowledges that she doesn't have someone like that in her life at the moment, and I think that's really sad to think about.
Yeah, and more evidence of that is when the police chief scene, when you're with the police, Lily's with the police chief, he takes advantage of all of that, and like the adults are supposed to help these kids up, instead they push them back down. I just another scene that made me really angry. The one with the police chief, I was like, this is just horrible. This poor kid is not getting a break, and they're threatening her with the one place she absolutely does not want to go back to.
Yeah, I think that seems really hard for Lily because I think she's such a caring person and she really prioritizes helping her friends. But I think when Chief Bowers, manipulates her and threatens her and intimidates her like that with Juniper Hill, I think that's kind of like her her like the point where she can't go back to Juniper Hill. So I think that's kind of why she did what she did and didn't tell the truth. And also just thinking about the environment, she was escorted to this police office or this station all by herself. She's getting manipulated by this like scary police officer that she can't trust or confide in at all. So I think that's kind of why she did what she did, and she kind of got tripped up at the end and didn't tell the truth.
Yeah, great answer. Last question. Let me ask you, what are some of your favorite movies, horror or otherwise?
I mean, I love the first two It movies. I know it's kind of on brand, but I really did love watching them when I was young. I also love the first Scream movie. I think that's such a classic. I really love that one. And I will say the one that scared me the most is the first Conjuring. I watched that and it honestly terrified me. I was so scared. I could definitely not sleep that night.
Clara, did you get a chance to see any of Stephen King's other works like Shawshank or The Green Mile? Did you see any of those movies?
Yeah, I honestly admire Stephen King so much. I think he's such an incredible author, and I honestly, it's such an honor to be a part of this universe now and kind of step into his universe. Yeah.
Clara, thank you so much. You rock in this part. I'm acting like you're my daughter. I'm so proud of you. Like you're doing so well, and it's so much fun to watch you. It really is. Have a wonderful Halloween. And the fact this is taking place on Halloween is extra cool. So thank you, and have yourself a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you so much. You too.